What's going on, guys? My name is Dustin Holland, and welcome to Legit Fishing. Hey, I hope everybody's having a good day. My name is Dustin Holland, and welcome to Legit Fishing. It's a beautiful, rainy Friday morning here in North Georgia, and kind of working on a project I've been wanting to do for a while. I have a camper shell on my truck. I've got a ladder rack on that camper shell, and I've been wanting to build some rod carriers to carry rods on top of that camper shell. I do a little bit of traveling with fishing. I don't do a ton, but when I do take trips, it would be really nice to be able to carry my rods, or even if I'm going on a kayak trip, somewhere local, be able to put my kayak up on top of that camper shell on the rack and be able to put my rods in some, solid storage to where they're not going to get beat up, they're not going to get broken. I've got one kind of ready to go here. It's actually been painted, it's drying, and I'm waiting. It'll be a couple days before the end caps for these come in, and I'll show y'all what I ordered for those, but that's going to give this paint a chance to kind of cure and set up, because it is still winter time and we do have some fluctuating temperatures. I want this paint to be able to cure as best as possible, so a couple days is going to help with that. Now, I'm going to take y'all through the process with the next one, because I am actually going to be putting two, one on each side of my truck, and we'll get started. I'll show y'all what I'm doing and how to get to this. Alright, so we are making these rod carriers out of 6-inch PVC pipe. Currently, right now, March 2024, a 10-foot stick of this is about $70. So between the two tubes, I've got $140 in pipe, which not cheap, not super expensive. It's definitely cheaper than some of the rod carrier options out there. And I'll have a little bit more in it by the time it's all said and done, but I'll try to go through and break that down and show y'all exactly how much and what to get to do these. Now, these pipes come in 10-foot sticks. I don't have any rods that are 10 foot long. I'm cutting these down to 8-foot sections, because the longest rod that I might possibly put in these rod carriers would be 8 feet long, and the caps will add, enough wiggle room there to where I'm not going to worry about messing up the rods. So first thing I'm going to do is measure, cut these, and I will get back with y'all. We'll do a time lapse kind of through some of this stuff, but at key points I will try to come through and explain exactly what I'm doing. This step's pretty easy. Just measure and cut your pipe to length. I used a Sawzall. Alright, I have come through and cut 2 foot off this 10-foot piece to make this section 8 foot long. Now I'm going to take a Scotch-Brite pad, kind of clean up the edge where I just made the cut, but we are going to clean and sand this entire piece of pipe. If you've ever dealt with PVC before, most of you have, I'm sure, it's super slick, nothing really sticks to it, which is what it's designed to do. But if we sand this and clean it up real nice, there's specific paints that will actually stick to this and create a really nice finish when you're done. So I'm going to clean this with rubbing alcohol. I don't know if you can tell, but this pipe is pretty dusty from actually painting that other one. I'm going to take rubbing alcohol, wipe it down, and then we're going to sand it. Pretty self-explanatory here. Just make sure you get it super clean. Alright, when it comes to sanding this pipe, you've got a bunch of different options. You can use just regular sandpaper. I wouldn't use like a DA or an electric sander, just because that's going to give you a flat surface, and this is obviously a curved piece of pipe. But you can use the same Scotch-Brite pad that I use to clean up the ends, or an option that I found that works really, really well, and if you're a plumber you'll know what this is, but it's open mesh cloth, and you can find it in the plumbing section, same aisle that I found this pipe on in my local Lowe's. I found this, but this is just a rolled up strip, and it's rated at 180 grit. And what I do is pull off about 18 inches of this and take a pair of 10 snips, old pair of scissors, cut it, and this will let you kind of conform to this pipe when you go to sand it. Now, it's going to take me quite a while to sand this entire piece of pipe, but y'all stay tuned and we'll go over it when I'm done sanding. Alright, so here you get to watch me kind of struggle to hold this piece of pipe in place. I end up putting a couple bags of rock salt on there just to hold it still. But just take your time, work through it, get it the best you can, and it definitely helps if you have someone to help you hold the pipe. Alright, so I've gone through, I've sanded this pipe. It's a very tedious process. I mean, it takes quite a while. The main thing you want to do is make sure you knock any of the shine that you can off this pipe. You want to be able to kind of feel it and it feel rough, because we're going to paint it. We need to give that paint a place to stick to. After I've gone through and sanded it, I go back again with rubbing alcohol to clean it off, get any oil and dirt off of it. I just use an old towel. Don't use one of your wife or your mom's nice towels. Use an old shop rag or something to go through, wipe this down, clean any dirt and debris off. And the next step is we're going to paint these. I'm painting mine black just because I think that will kind of look the best on my truck. Honestly, you could paint these with whatever color you want to use. I am using Krylon Fusion all-in-one. It is a paint and primer, and says it has a no peel guarantee. I guess we will find out if that's true or not. But I am using matte black. I wanted to go matte, and it'll kind of flatten out over time, which is what I want. I want more of that flat black look, but I started with matte because it is going to be out in the sun and in the elements. So make sure you do this in a well-ventilated area. I'm going to crack my garage door. I've got some heat running in here. I'm probably going to turn that off while I'm using spray paint, and that's it. We'll see you when I'm done painting. Okay, so I'm going super light with this first coat. That is going to make sure I get the best adhesion possible with this paint. Just take your time, make it look really good. We're putting this on our truck. We want it to look absolutely the best that we possibly can. So just make it look really good. Alright, so I've let this dry for about an hour. I'm just going to kind of pick it up, rotate where I can get to this underside that I wasn't able to paint. Now, when I paint this, kind of watch close. I do this in about 3 coats. The first one being super light. This paint says leave a minute in between coats, so that's what I'm doing. And we'll finish up painting this one empty side along through here. Same process as before. Take your time, go slow, make it look really good. Alright, so I have got this thing completely coated in paint all the way around the tube. I'm going to let this cure for at least an hour. It says that it's dry to the touch in 20 minutes, dry to handle in an hour, so I'm going to give it at least that hour. I'm going to let the fumes kind of dissipate out of my garage. Like I said, it's just pouring down rain outside. And then I'm going to shut the garage door and actually turn on a propane heater to kind of bump the temperature up in here. That will help both of these to cure. I can already tell that one is almost fully dry. So I will catch y'all when I get the rest of these parts in and we go to install them on the truck. All right, magically, 2 days later, you might notice I've already got one of these installed, got the caps and everything on it. I'm gonna step y'all through finishing up this other side. Really simple. I actually bought this kit off of Amazon. I had to buy 2 kits, but these are the caps for the ends. This side opens up to where you can access to put your rods in, and we're gonna mount those up. It's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. Cap pops over the end, make sure it's squared up and center, and we're gonna run some screws in both ends. Side note, this kit that I bought, the door side, this one came pre-drilled. The other one actually did not, so I had to drill holes in those to mount them, but I'm using number 12 3/4 stainless screws and washers. You want to make sure on this that you use stainless, because it is going to be out in the weather. It's just like, you know, on your boat or kayak or whatever. It's going to get wet. Stainless is going to resist the rust and corrosion, so I'm using stainless. These caps are powder coated aluminum, so don't have to worry about those. But I'm going to run through this and get these caps put on. Alright, when I go to install these, I am using a 12 volt drill. I'd recommend using a screwdriver to put these in. You got to be super careful with the drill, but as long as you take your time and you go slow, the drill works just fine. Alright, so we've got the caps installed. You can see these flip up so you have access to inside of the rod tube, and they've got a place for a padlock on each side. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to mount these on top of the roof rack. There is drilling involved with this, with the specific mounts that I got. They make a couple different types of these conduit carriers. This one actually has a base that's rounded out for the pipe, and your U-bolt slides down through it. Some of the ones come with, you know, 4 U-bolts per tube, and 2 straps, and it just straps around whatever rack you've got. I actually wanted to use these just because I feel like it's more solid. Yeah, it's only got 1 U-bolt that holds it, but I can about guarantee you that those 2 U-bolts that are holding this one on are going to be plenty. So we're going to climb up on the ladder, get up on the roof rack, and start drilling our holes for these. I've already measured everything on that one, so I know what to do on this side, and we'll go through that. Alright, so this is kind of one of those measure twice, drill once scenarios. You want to make sure that you take your time. I'm using the saddle bases that came with these to actually kind of mark my holes out. Start a little bit of a hole and then move those bases so that I can drill the rest of the way. Just take your time. I know I've said that a lot in this video, but it's one of those things you want to make it look good, so go slow. Alright, so I've got this tube set up here, got my holes drilled. I'm going to drop these U-bolts in. It'll take a little bit of finessing. This would definitely be easier with 2 people, but just me today. So we're going to drop these U-bolts in. These did come with the hardware to the nuts and the washers for these U-bolts. However, I did go to the hardware store and pick up some fender washers, which are just oversized washers to put on the bottom side of this. This is aluminum. I don't want it to bend or the nut pull out. So we're gonna put these on and strap these down. Okay, so those fender washers are kind of key here. You can find them at any hardware store, based on the bolt size, but they're just a larger washer than normal. But I tighten these using a wrench. I didn't use any power tools. I don't want to over torque them. All right, so that is the install of the new rod tubes that I had put on top of my camper shell on my truck. I appreciate y'all watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think. Would you do this? Like I said, I still got plenty of room to throw a kayak in between these two, be able to go and not have to worry about throwing my rods in the back of the truck, stuff sliding around, them getting broke. I appreciate it, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.